There are so many things that we want to teach to our children, but how do we teach our children that death is not the end of the story? Liesl Muller wrote a poem about it. She said, "You can't keep it, I say, it will decay. Bury the mouse, I tell her. It will make the tulips redder. Give the trees babies. Fatten the faces of the daisies. Put manes on the grass. Spring comes up thick from the dead, I say, broadcasting the words like seeds, until she obeys, sadly, with her green child's trowel, and when she runs out the next morning to see the pink hawthorn has an extra blossom or two, and it has, I go scot-free, acquitted by her happiness-tinged cheeks, my judges, my blind jury." But how do any of us who don't have a mother who's a poet like that learn that death is not the end of the story? Has anyone here ever been on a long road trip? Let me see your hands. You can put it in the chat if you're online. Okay, most of us have been on a long road trip. Do you remember riding in the back of a car on a long road trip as a child? Anybody? Okay, all right. It probably any trip, 30, 45 minutes felt like a long road trip as a child. So if you have, you probably know the age-old question. You probably said it yourself, asked it yourself. Are we there yet? Exactly. And so if you've driven children in the back of your car, you've heard these words ringing out, whiny and nasally. So can you say that for me again? Let me hear you say that. Children, you guys help me too. Are we there yet? Exactly. But I want you to do, that was pretty good. But I want you to get a little more whiny this time, and let's try it one more time. You got to help us out over here, the children's choir. So one more time. Let me hear it. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're bringing back lots of memories for me. I hope for you too. So I'll tell you what. As I go through this short message I have for you this morning, when I lift my hands to my ears, if you would just say that for me, it would really help. Okay. Think of how whiny the disciples must have been as they followed Jesus. Good. I can hear it now. Jesus told them, according to Matthew chapter 3, verse 2, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. He says in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, Jesus says, truly I tell you, some of those of you who are standing here will not taste death before you see the kingdom of heaven. He says it's coming in their lifetime, the lifetime of some of the people he is speaking to. And so as they traveled with Jesus, who astonished people with his teachings in Capernaum, they ask, are we there? After his incredible Sermon on the Mount, they wanted to know, are we there yet? Right. After feeding the 5,000, are we there yet? Yes, once they experienced the walking on water episode, are we there yet? After the miracle of the loaves and fishes, are we there yet? Yeah, and once he turned over the money changers' tables in the temple, are we there yet? Yeah, and then even after being betrayed by Judas, are we there yet? Right. They certainly didn't expect him to be crucified and to die like a common criminal before they were there yet. What were they supposed to do now that he was dead? They must have felt terrible, not just the grief, but incredible embarrassment. All the family, their family and their friends who told them that they were crazy to leave their jobs and to leave their homes and to leave their families and follow this itinerant preacher. Now they were going to have to go back home and face those people. I can hear it now. We told you so. You thought he was the Messiah. You thought the reign of God was at hand. Have you ever had a dream of yours crushed? Followed maybe a guru or a leader, or went against other people's advice for your life, and then had to eat crow? It's not a lot of fun. Or did someone you love die unexpectedly or too soon? It can turn your whole life upside down. I know, I speak from experience. But death is not the end of the story. You can even crucify the good and the true, but they never die. They rise again. Jesus is alive today in this service and all over the world. And every time we love our neighbor as ourselves and forgive one another, every time we feed the hungry or clothe the naked or free the captives, or when we're kind to foreigners, every time someone does right unto the least in society, he is risen. His story did not end, and the kingdom of heaven is at hand, in your hands, in my hands. When we embody that kind of transformative love, the kingdom of heaven is not a destination where we arrive once and for all. It is every stop along the journey of our life when we choose to be generous and to be kind and to go the extra mile. The kingdom of heaven is in our hands. And that's why when we ask, it depends on you. Because the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, the smallest seed that grows into a large plant. When you perform acts of love and mercy, you plant seeds that will grow long after you are gone. And that's why death is not the end of the story, and why Jesus Christ has risen today, even here, even now, because of you. Happy Easter. I love you.